It's my honor to introduce all of you to my dear friend, Kathleen Buchan, our guest artist today. Kathleen has been painting for several decades, I'll say, not to
since my 20s.
Since her 20s.
They can have a guess.
And Kathleen has been teaching for 35 years. She has beautiful works that are sold in throughout Canada and the United States. She has been one of the founders of Quest Art way back at the beginning. And she has been my dear friend for almost 20 years. And I love her. And you're going to love her too, because she's funny and she's talented. And she even went to the trouble of developing the instruction sheets that were in your bag today. Kathleen, we're so happy that you agreed to do this. Thank you so much.
Fun to do.
And the camera is yours.
Okay. Am I supposed to say something now?
There's a camera here.
Oh, there's a camera.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't
it's
know
all
I was
yours.
have a camera.
Stage.
Okay. Well, I don't know who I'm talking to, and she's introduced me. I've actually been painting for 60 years, but I started at the feet of my grandfather and ended up teaching Conestoga and places like that. So I love it. Mostly I like beginners who get so excited. We all just laugh. And I ended up doing teaching at home for a long time when my children were younger. And I ended up teaching at places like Conestoga and Georgian College and things like that. I also do private lessons at home. So it's all about having fun at this stage in my life. I'm supposedly retired. And this little thing we're going to be doing today, I'm going to actually be demoing how you will start. But if you're painting now, you're going to miss the best part of this, because there are a lot of instructions that you're going to read, and it's exactly what I would be saying. But as I'm saying it, I'm doing it. And it's not a really long demo. So if I say, just mix this, and you're doing this, you're going to miss it. So I just appreciate, I sort of mentioned that in my notes to you. And I also gave you my phone number, and I don't live very far from here. So I'm very user friendly, as she would tell you. You end up with a cup of tea and we sit and laugh and play. So nice meeting you. I can't see you, but I know a lot of my friends are looking at right now. Bonjour, Madeleine. I speak a little bit of French. And that's why I'm living in this area, because I was born in Montreal. So,
bonjour, Kathleen.
Bonjour. Ça va bien? Thank you. Am I off?
You're off. No, you're off on your teaching now.
Okay.
You can go ahead and teach. Watch.
Oh, I'm off. Okay, I understand. I was off. Okay. So this little painting that you would have received was a sketch, and it was on a page with your instructions at the beginning of what you need. And I basically threw in the best place to paint, especially with acrylics, in case you have an accident, as in a child, a grandchild, a doggy. It's an accident waiting to happen until you find the joys of acrylic painting. If you get it on your hands, don't panic. I had it on every fingertip at one stage. If you touch your white shirt with that fingertip, it will stain. And unless you take your shirt off and wash it immediately, then you got a chance. It will come off your hands, it will come off your fingernails, soap and water. So all I'm saying is be careful. Make sure you have something on your table. If you're sitting in front of your computer looking at Zoom and you have an off-white rug in your room, bad news. Okay, that's my morning. I played with this sketch. This is a sketch I'm going to try to demo very quickly on, but I tried to come up with some colors, and I was like anybody would be. I'm used to working on fairly large things. The idea of this particular picture that I'm doing came from something I did for my grandson, and this is a small print of the work. It's about 36 inches by 24, I think. And he got his hand in saying what colors he wanted, and I gave him all kinds of neat kid things to pick. And he liked the idea of all this fruit all over the place, and they together came up with the name of Fruitopia. I don't do really abstract art where you say, oh, that's lovely, but I don't know what it is. You might like the colors and the design. This to me is as abstract as I want to get, just like that. You still know it's fruit, but it's fun, and it's fun in a kitchen. And this is the kind of thing that you could do with anything. A bottle of wine and something to go with wine, a glass. So this little is going to be my little, where you're going to see me play. I did something at home, and this is sort of what it could look like if you decide to do a lot of those lines in there. What I did provide for you was little things for you to trace onto your board. So as you can see, by putting that there, using a pencil and tracing it on, you have where that belongs. The teapot, this is not any regular tea like we're having today. Whoever made this tea was drinking something else in tea, because the teapot's up in the air and it's pouring tea all the way down the canvas, and it's hitting the cup and saucer, which is at the bottom, also in an angle. So that's some tea party, eh? And because this is a strawberry tea, I wanted you to have fun. Now there is a bowl in the middle, and it's slightly tucked behind the teapot. Also, we're not going to put that absolutely straight. Let's put it a little bit at an angle too. So let's convince people we really are drinking tea while they look at this lopsided picture. Okay, if all you want to do on the canvas and then phone me, that's okay too, because I gave you my phone. I sketched it on here. That's the first thing you're going to do, and you've got these things to help you, and you have a little sketch on the page with it. So that's you starting. 2 bottles of water, one for cleaning my brush, piece of paper towel. That was one of my jobs before coming. Wipe it, then dip into clean water. That takes off the dirty water. You have something you will never get in your life again, paint in a little thing like this. This was a challenge because I have a little arthritis in my hands, opening it, but you get the heck of it without using your teeth or anything else. You can just pull one part up, and once you've got it, you've got it. I do not use the black ink or the black paint. I use a ballpoint pen that's called a fine tip. And that's how I do the example of it's sort of like stained glass windows. I do things that do look like stained glass windows. By outlining things in black, you will get that look of stained glass. So you can see right now that opens up opportunities for you to do like as a little gift, or make a Christmas tree and outline it and do balls on it and things and send it as your card for Christmas. You are now an artist. Once you do this and you actually you go to the store that sells paint. I often go to Curry's because I buy a lot of canvases, different sizes and things. This is the size that the average painter that is using a lot of acrylics, because once you discover it, it's wonderful. But I mostly do oils, but I did a very large oil of something I saw in Alaska. I painted the whole thing in acrylic first, ding, 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 covered it with oil. And while I was doing the acrylic, I added something called acrylic paste. You can put it on with a knife or a big brush. It showed the ice falling down the glacier. Then when I went over, I went and had a cup of tea, and I came back and it was dry. Then what I did is I brought my class up and I gave them all the knife, and I said, I want you to just practice using a knife, a palette knife, and put on this medium. And it's a gesso medium, which adds thickness. So even if you're doing oil or something else, you can use this. All this is a phone call away for you to know. I didn't write that all down, but I do have a lot of hints on the back of the page, as you may notice. There's what you have to have on the front, but the back is a little hints for you. So that's what that will be. I did red here because I have to bring out the feeling of strawberry. I wore this today because it's strawberry. And I wanted to have the teapot stand out. So I started off, and by the time I was across the room, I couldn't even see it. So I said, okay, let's forget that. We're going to do it. So let me just start off quickly. I think I've done all the talking I need to do, but I'm trying to emphasize. If you know me, I'm pretty easy to talk to and laugh with. And I do make a nice cup of tea too. So if you come late enough, it might be something else. Okay. Right now, I have a little bit of paint on here. I'm not going to worry about it. Anytime you need to move paint off, have some paper towel. A cloth is handy too. And you can wipe your plate off because it comes off your plate. Go to the kitchen sink, run it off. The thing you have to be careful is if you're washing your brushes off, that's why I say if you're in the kitchen, you just go to the sink, pour it out, shake it, put some clean water in it. So if I want to start this thing here, what I'm going to do is go right into something red so we can identify where we are. So you will have had all your things drawn on your canvas. So you don't have to do red. You can do royal blue or anything, but you'll just find that you won't see it as much as that. Okay, so I'm just dipping into this little thing, and I'm making myself do something that I never do. I usually put my paint right on my palette. I put something about a white plate. I stole this plate that we're having our tea on. I'm sticking the little childlike but beautiful brush. Do not use watercolor brushes or oil painting brushes. You will ruin them. Something for an acrylic brush, synthetic. Just put your red. That looks like a burgundy to me, but it's red. If I were to add yellow to red, it goes towards orange. And I don't want orange right now, but I can put yellow, and I can put yellow right on top of the red, and it will change it. So I'm going to, you want me to do this way? Is it easier for you? You don't have to be behind me. It's a white teapot, so I'm going to go around here. And somebody says, I have the shape. Well, I should be the one with the shapes. Now, right now, if I said, oh, I decided I don't want red, I could take the cloth and wipe that right off because it's wet. You can remember that when acrylic is wet, it can come off. Also, if it's still wet and you decide you want orange, you can put some little yellow on top of that and mix it right on your canvas. This is an opportunity to take the edge of this brush, not the whole thing. Use the edge as if it's a pointer and just outline your little pot. If you think you didn't do your pot properly, we won't discuss pots right now after this virus thing. You can correct it after. It is very easy to correct. I could turn this into a white teapot. I mean, a white background if I wanted. Okay, so you can see how you see the beginning of that outline. And by carrying on, it's actually like I'm actually drawing the teapot. So you're killing two birds with one stone. You've got a teapot standing out. It's already white. Maybe I'll just leave it white for now so I can show you something else. And you may notice what I've done here, and I might as well point it out here. The little thing running out of the teapot is going do down into the pot of tea. I started off, I put the tea looking like black coffee. I realized it shouldn't be that color. So, is there anywhere I want to put red? Yes, I do. And if I wanted to, just for the heck of it, this would be fun to do. If I had an hour, I could finish the thing here, but I'm just going to show where there's strawberries here. A few strawberries coming down. Now guess where they're going? What's the other thing we drew? A pot of strawberries down in here, right? So now I'm just sort of telling myself, the strawberries are coming at this angle. They're coming down into here in the bowl. There's the edge of the bowl. So I'm going to go around the teapot. I'm going to just throw this in. I'm going to grab a little fresh water, color that off before, and go into here, take a little fresh water, and just wet things a bit around. See how the pink is still on my brush? So watch what happens when I put the white around, let things run. Oh, it's fun. This is the fun part. Except if the phone rings or you want to do something on the computer, realize that things will be all dry by the time you come home. This is me giving it a little bit of color on all that white canvas. and just get some paint on there. And it has a way of doing what it wants to do. And sometimes you're very happy because I have a little spray bottle. I find that's handy if I have paint on here. I spray my paint just to keep it damp. Sometimes I'll spray my little things with the paint in it. And if I want that to run, I'll spray my little paint and play with it. This is experimenting. So if I move this around like this, up and down, you'll see that it will run into each other.
Can you hold that up to the camera a little more? Yeah.
Hard to do when you're trying to run it.
Yeah.
But you see, I'm trying to tell you, you don't have to be that careful. Now let's say my whole thing's running off my canvas. So maybe you want it to, as long as it doesn't fall on your white pants, you're okay. Look at my white pants and I didn't. You can do this with your paper towel. You can do this. You can drop a little yellow and let it run down in that. When the yellow goes with the red, it will make sort of an orangey color. Which is thing looking at me right there? Right here? Okay. So let it run. I don't want to touch that till it's dry. And I'm going to put a white thing around that at the end. The agreement was to just do the teapot, but by painting the red around it, I've basically done the teapot. I will go back with white paint. This little circle here is just a circle I put in. This little circle here is one I put in. This is what's making it just a little bit more edgy, okay? You can leave it out. You can just put the teapot, the cup and saucer, and the bowl. The bowl, we've indicated that's where the strawberries are going to be. So let me just put another color in for fun. And somewhere along there, you think, oh, I love playing with this. And you can wipe it all off as much as you can, and you can paint the thing white again, and you can start again. Or you could go out and buy a bigger canvas and do something exciting that you could actually put in your kitchen or give to somebody as a gift. So, and all the above I've done. Somebody give me a warning when I have to stop. So while we're talking about running, because that's still wet, I'm going to put some more color in here. We're trying to finish the background, so I know where the background is, and I'm going to leave my circles in because that's helping me establish where my background is. And I want to go between the bowls, so what's left is the things that we're painting. Now, even with that little bit of stuff on there, we can see there's something falling down through here. I can turn that into a blue sky if I want, or it can just be a fun thing. And I'm going over some pencil marks. Okay. See, that's a background color. That's all I wanted for now. Okay. Now to get into a little bit more having things stand out. Whoops, baby. These are tricky because if you there's two little things here and you push one, pull one up, whichever works best. Remember what you did. Make sure the brush is clean. My water is dirty already, so I make sure I've got all the paint off it there. Go into the clean water and go right into the white paint. Now at home I would have a big tube and I would squeeze that on my plate. I'm putting the white right there for the moment. And what I'm going to do is establish my areas where it's going to be white and edges. So very quickly, if I had a big hunk of white there, that's where I would spray it. Leave this little one open here so I can get it easy. It won't dry there right away, but it will. I forget where I am and what I'm doing. Okay, so this thing here, to me, is a little bit awkward, so I'm going to have to cut in there. If you can see, that teapot doesn't look like I was drinking tea, does it? So I need to come in here after with the red. However, I know it's going to be white, and I left it white on purpose, but it makes you feel better. Just throw in the white. By now, you know how to pick up the paint, you know how to clean your brush, you know how to get some water. Go along the edge that I've established. If you pick up a little bit of red, don't worry about it because you will pick up other colors. So you try to stick with this. Just stay with the shape of the pot you want, and then we'll cut in with the red after. And I'm not going to worry about the top right now. There is a little handle that's going to go out here. There's a handle that's going to go off here. There's a little thing here. Now you're going to be saying, I don't do it as easy as you. Well, you know, I've been doing it for a while. And I don't usually do picky little things. I started out very picky because we all were picky back then, hundreds of years ago. And now you don't want to even recognize what it is. And this is as close to not recognizing. I'm going to take the white, and because I've decided to keep the circles for interest's sake, I'm going to be painting the white line around the reds, and I'm going to just feel the red. It's a little bit damp still, so I'm going to go somewhere else. See, this is running down here. I'm not worried about it. My finger did it. I'm going to put white around that one because there's nothing really too much over here. Now, if I do white around a plate here, but there's a transparent bowl in front of it, what do you think happens to the white? Well, if this is transparent and not opaque, it means that I will see the white coming through. And if I want to, I can blot it with my finger, or I can be fancy and get a piece of rag. But you see, the white does carry on even though there's a bowl there. And the bowl will be white with a bit of blue. Where else do I have white? I have white on the cup and saucer, so let me do that. There's a plate under the cup and saucer, and it's nice and dry down in here, so I'll do that. Just put it in vaguely the area. There's the thing around there. And it's rather hard holding this up, but I'm managing. There is a nice cup. And there again, you have cups all around you at home, but you know, do you think you can draw a cup? That's why I love my pen that I do at the end. So I know that the bottom of the cup is sort of like, if you had a line right through this cup, it says to you that that part of the cup should look like this part. So this can't be going up there and this going down. So it tells us that this line is sort of like this line, right? Copy, 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 straight. A little line across the top. And there's your cup, right? So you've already got a pot, you've got a thing. There's a line. I've done white lines on the edge. I was wondering if this was still running, but it doesn't matter. And sometimes it's just so fun, so much fun to run stuff. I'll even put what I've got on my brush and clean it off on the canvas and let it run. It's when I start pulling everything together and putting the strawberries in and the light on the strawberries and everything else like that. Okay, so I've shown you where the white is going. Now the teacup and the pot are going to have some decorations on them. The little paper that I gave you to cut out your stencils or whatever we call those things, I gave you little patterns. I showed you what's fussy and what's plainer to do. This is not too fussy a picture. In other words, don't worry about flowers and buds, little roses and things like that. This is so small that you're going to indicate something. Because that teapot's bothering me a bit, before we go there, I'm just going to pick up some red. Yep. Yes, if you did.
Seeing that. Yeah. Thank you. That's great. Yeah.
I have to do this. So.
Yeah. I'm wondering if you slid over to the left.
There, I corrected that. You tell me where it goes. Okay. Like if you were behind me, you'd be doing the whole thing, you know, so I could have set it up differently. Okay, and because I have the red on the brush, I'm going to put some more down here because this is just the base, and you can see how strawberries are not really red. They've got yellow in it and they have a nice light, but I'm doing the dark first and then indicating that. And I'm going to clean my brush because I really don't have much to do with red, except there's going to be blue down here. So I'm going to use this to do this. And this will make it background. And what you use for your background becomes just that. Left areas where I've got a few strawberries down in here. Okay, that's fine. And I'm going to put some of that up here. So all of a sudden the white will stand out. And go around this plate, which has white on it, and go in the middle here, the little dead area here. So even though it's nothing, it's making everything stand out, as you can see. Okay, cleaning my brush again. This is where you tell Joe Blow in the next room to come and change your water for you because you want to carry on. You're so excited. Now, there's nothing bright yellow. I actually played around with having this blue thing here, the plate or whatever it is. I'm trying not to think of plate. I'm trying to think of circles. This is a circle. This is a circle. We're all circles. But that is a means of getting your eye to go around the canvas. So what I want to do now, the yellow didn't work. It just, I thought red, yellow, blue, that works usually in pictures, actually in a child's room. So the yellow will work if I mix it with a little red and do something there. So I'm going to take a little bit of the yellow that's already wet, and I'm going to put some in here as background. And I don't want this to be next to the same as the other. And I might have some blue in here eventually too. All I've done is go over where I've been, but added a little bit of yellow that's already open. You know, there's still tuna in the can, use it for something else, right? You could have 2 or 3 things on the go. And if you worked on a canvas, there's a, I didn't bring it today, but there is a paper that's got a canvas feel, and you can actually do acrylic on it. You could cut out, do freehand ones and cut them into cards. So that's another idea that you can do. Okay. While I've got that little bit of yellow, I'm going to just blot that where I had that red. See that red there? That was just to say that's where the strawberries are in case I forget what I'm doing. So I have yellow, and if I put yellow on top of the red, it gives it a little bit of a orangey look. So my friend that introduced me made all those masks herself. I don't know where she gets time to do that, but when people say that about me, what do you mean you want a meal? Don't you see I'm painting? Now you see that's warming that up. I haven't put white or anything. Well, you want white? Well, I've got a little bit of white left here. It's hardly anything, but that's what I'll do. I'll have red strawberries. They'll have a little yellow in them, and they'll have a little white in them. Now, what happens if I put yellow on top of red? Well, I don't really want an orange plate, but just to prove my point, you see it gives it another glow. It's not a red glow. And I had it once almost orange, and I said, I don't like it, but I have to do it just to see. Nothing worse than getting up and demoing something that turns black or something. Right? Okay, it's just giving it a bit of a glow with the yellow on it, but go to the next room and come back. It won't be that color anymore. Once it dries, it changes completely, okay? Now I got this color and I don't know what it is, so it's probably picked up some red, so let's see what it is. Aha, good. Nice to have this other color in here. Go around where it's white. Look at how it makes that stand up. As you see? Okay, so if that works, so is there any place else I could stick it? Oh yeah, here, how about down here? And you see when you do your pen after and outline things, it's really great. And I'm going to darken it down in here a little bit, shadow. And put it down in this little corner here, and that makes the white stand up. Okay. How am I doing for time, guys?
Doing great. For another 10 minutes.
Ah bon. 6 minutes. Trouble with the bowl right now. I'd like to tackle it with the blue and the white, but you know what it's going to do? And this will become mud. Ask me how to do brown. You put everything together and it's mud. And the biggest thing you hear from artists is everything has gone into mud. So I say, well, you take mud, mix it with the darkest blue you have, and this was oil paint, but it would be this too. The darkest blue and mud, which is everything else, your 3 primary colors, and you will get as close to black as you can get. So let's say you forget your black, and we don't use black in paintings. We make our grays. So we make our black, and then we add white, and then we get a sort of a blue gray, and we add a little red, it's a pinky gray. Okay. Is it cheating if you go and get your hair dryer? Yes. We're allowed to cheat in watercolor for sure. Yeah, I didn't do this before. Rather interesting what I'm getting. See, when it's only partly dry, you can run your brush across something and it will lift it. So I could make a design, but if I just sort of like it as a highlight, I could just do that now. And you say, well, that looks sort of strange. I like the red, but it won't be like that in about 10 minutes. All right. I've only got 10 minutes left, so I can't wait. All right. This little, I might get brave and do a little blue here because blue and yellow make green. When we did coloring books, we didn't have to worry about that. We never had to make colors.
Want some help?
Nope, it's okay. I've got the heck after practicing. Okay. Now the trouble is if you don't use fresh water and wipe off your brush or get clean water, you're going to carry that color over. So clean the brush I can. I'm taking some blue out. I'll close that because I don't need a lot. That's garbage. Don't keep using it and don't blow your nose. Okay. That's quite a great one. Ah, drink. Thank you. The class will only get better. All right. I'm going to try not to mix. And really with the blue, I should have a little bit of white because it makes it more, gives it more oomph. Because the colors do not always come out the way they are. You're better to go on the top and pull it up than try to do it all, okay? There it is. I have one of these yet to blow back at me, okay? They're stuck there. They don't want to come out. So, and that's good. So I'm going to not ever take a white and go right into the middle of a color. Creep up on it like it's a wild animal. See, I picked up a lot of blue even though I washed it. Okay, so we'll take some more blue, white. Now I use these because you're going to use them and it's only fair, right? So let's take this white over here and just with a little bit of blue that's on my brush, without even going into the blue, I'm going to just edge the edge of the fruit bowl with this, just so I know where it is. And it's not pure white, it's got a tiny bit of blue in it. but it will help me to see where I'm going to have the dribble of tea that's going to go right down to the teacup. See, I'm just going on the edge here. There's a top edge and there's a bottom edge. If you can't see it, look at your, what's the word I'm looking for?
Stencil.
Thank you.
Do I get a prize for that?
Yes, you do. If you look closely at this, it's a drawing. It's not much of a drawing, but it shows you it's a bowl. It's not a toilet bowl, it's a bowl. And we're going to put strawberries in it. So just doing that little bit of white that had a little bit of blue in it along the top of this little beautiful decorated bowl that your great granddaughter wanted you to have, and she gave it to you for Christmas. And you're not going to do much on this because it isn't going to be a white bowl. So what else is around here that you see that's white? Well, I think I can go back here and do the white around this. And what's wrong with white with a little blue in it? So there's another white. I have a cup and saucer I didn't do yet. I'll do it this color, and then I'll go back to do white on top of it after. Rather pretty. Just outlining it, okay? We already put the dish in, but that doesn't mean it's going to be a pale blue cup. It just means that I put some paint on. It'd be so easy to go back on top of it. And I haven't decided what to do with that. I don't know if I want a navy blue or a dark blue, but I did take it out, and I'm not a wasteful person. So we'll put this in here for now, okay? I'm not going to worry about those strawberries. I'm going to just paint. And I just did the white, so I'll come right in here, around there. Am I going to worry about the tea? No. No, go right over where the tea is. At least we got paint on things, right? Okay, and it comes through the bowl a bit, right? So I'm going to put a little bit there, a little bit here. And I can go into the darker blue because it's sitting right next to it. So putting darker blue on this lighter blue has a bit of water in it and it's transparent. But let's just go a little darker. Outline your white that we just put on. And see, this is like your coloring book again, right? You've got a shape, you've drawn it yourself, and now it's a matter of going. But don't worry about it because that's going to change color as we speak. These strawberries can be done last. I mean, I wouldn't call this looking like strawberries or something red. I may cover something up and change it. I could take that same blue right now that I'm using. This now is going to become the dirty one. I'll use the other one for the fresh one. Still thinking. Okay, so using some of that blue, I could go back here and do something on that, but using the blue, and because I've got so many other things, it's a good time for me to establish a little bit more on the shadow. So if I put blue on this orangey color, we learn eventually, if we don't know anything about art, that things on a color wheel across from each other sort of cancel out each other. So if I put blue and orange together in a room as an interior decorator, I know it's going to work. If I put green and red in a room, it will work. It's Christmas. Purple and gold. Those yellow, you know, these colors are opposite each other on a color wheel. And so your three primary colors make secondary colors. And those are the only colors you really have to know. Add white to them, they change. So I've got this blue now. And because I've got yellows and oranges, watch what happens when I put the blue on top of something that's orangey. Am I getting a gray? See how that's bringing out things? Imagine when I then put highlights on that. So everywhere I went with the reds and cleaning my brush off and everything has been very useful for me, right? And I've got various shades of blue here. So this will be a shadow in here too. And this is shadow here and in here. And it makes everything sort of stand out as I put in the darks. And you say, well, it wasn't dark, it was orange. Yeah, I know, but it's dark now, darker. And I can go as dark as I want. And I can put some of this in here to make it even more interesting. And if I put that in and I put more water on it and it start running, that would be interesting too, wouldn't it? So you see how you could get carried away with this. And if it's a bigger canvas, you get more carried away. So to heck with supper, we're eating out tonight. Although with COVID, I don't know if I give up eating out. We have a lot of good artists in this area, and I see a lot of younger people are really finding it's. When I was younger, it wasn't the thing to do. They wanted to get out of high school and get married and have babies. That was it. Now you know how old I am. But my grandfather, I guess he must have been an artist at heart because he owned an art gallery at one stage, and he sort of mentored me. He didn't make me follow rules, and it was about doing what you felt like doing. So in the school I went to, if there were posters to be done, they just seemed to track me down to do them. So that's, I sort of like that orange, but I'm going to go on top of it anyway. When you have the darker in it, it gives you the opportunity to have things stand out better. And then you're able to make decisions where you're going to go forward. So I know I put some white on there, but you can see it's not finished. There's supposed to be white in there and some lines. I can do that. You can see how by putting, this is a special kind of a marker. I used several at home to see which would work best. And it's written down in my paper I gave you. It's a fine point Sharpie. And just to give you an example, because I didn't do the white around the teapot yet. So I'm just going to take the Sharpie and do this.
Okay, we've got about 3 more minutes.
Okay, now you see all I did was put a line around on top of the pencil. You see how that stands out? And was I worried it might go run? Well, it's mine, you know. I can do what I want. Now that circle is not finished, so let's make sure that your circles don't look like you've been drinking something other than tea. There again, in your mind or pencil, there is a line right here. That should be the same as that. However, if you do it at an angle, that's where my pots start looking little you know what on one side. So, and this is still wet, sort of. But as soon as you can, outline your pot. And you can always go back at the very end and outline things again. You'll use a dark pencil to make these, but if you cover it up with white paint, so you're better to put the pencil or the ink there. Everything will be dry. I didn't check the ink, whether it's waterproof. I just put the pencil in and do the white in between. And I don't put a lot of color on that. I just, you see that the teapot doesn't have a shadow area or anything. So at the moment, it's about this part right in here to have it stand out somehow. I'm not happy with that because it became a little bit like a dog's dinner. I'm going to brighten it up. If I see you again ever, I will show it to you. And this will be this one. And we're down to a few minutes, so I think you've got the idea. This can be anything you want. The one I have here is white in the middle, so I made another circle if you're sick of circles, but it certainly has a theme, doesn't it? And if you wanted, you could put, see, this is busy here because of strawberries. So I decided not to do a pattern on this quote plate, this circle. Let's call them circles. They don't have to have patterns. This has to stand out more. I want this to be very important. I want the strawberries to be deeper, some of this color in it, so that you're not only looking at this is like a bullseye. I want this thing to stand out next. So that's why I did that first. And it's not, this one's going to be a lot lighter. And I've started it light, so it's going to be up to you what you do. This is going to be darker for sure because I'm trying to have the light coming in this way. And by the time you do a little detail here, little polka dots or little tiny flowers, I've had that on the paper. If you cut these things out, you probably threw the paper away. But if it's too twirly, it's too fussy, keep it simple, even for you. Polka dots just down from the line would be fine. And then you could have polka dots here, but then that's repetition. So I think I'm out of time. I'm not good for 2 minutes. So. And get a little bottle like this. You have all kinds of those bottles they had around with stuff for your hands during the COVID. Perfect little spray bottles and things, if you have one. There's a lot of things around. I don't know what this was. Dr. Hose. I haven't used it and I've had it for a year. God knows I could use it. Okay, I hope you enjoy it. Don't forget, I have left my phone number for a reason, that I would love to see you again. This is all part of what I'm doing for my friend. And for a very good cause.